Hi, viewers. Today we will be talking about coronavirus, one of the biggest pandemics our world has seen. So, what's the state of coronavirus? And for the viewers who don't know what is coronavirus, I will show you initially a video about what is coronavirus. So we know that coronavirus has impacted our lives everywhere. It's not a regional or a specific regional issue anymore. It's a global issue. Has impacted our lives from rural areas to urban areas, from all corners. And now that we are a globalized world, we travel across the world. It's easy for a virus like coronavirus or COVID-19 spread very efficiently. And it has the kind of characteristics which basically helped it to spread through various populations in various regions. And I will show you what it used to be in terms of the spread of coronavirus back in early 2020 and now. So let's start with this video that talks about what is coronavirus.
So the whole family of coronaviruses are named coronavirus because corona means crown. And so this refers to the way that the virus looks under the microscope, like there's a crown on the top of the virus.
How many of you really knew why it's called corona? So it looks like a crown under the microscope, and that's why it's called coronavirus.
Some of them, 4 or 5 different kinds, cause common diseases among humans, everything from the common cold to mild or moderate respiratory illnesses. Other kinds of coronaviruses affect animals. And sometimes, on rare occasions, we see coronaviruses jump from animal species into the human population. The 2019 novel coronavirus is getting a lot of attention now because it is a new kind of coronavirus we haven't seen among humans before. The theory is that it may have jumped from an animal species into the human population and then begun spreading. We have seen some people that have died of this disease, and we know that there are already thousands of cases. So people are concerned because we don't yet know exactly how severe the disease will be or how far it will spread. When a new virus emerges, we often have to learn much more about it. And one of the things that we question is, how does it transmit from person to person?
So, one big issue, as we know, one of many global leaders who try to politicize coronavirus have tried to suppress scientific voices, saying that coronavirus is just like another flu. And there's something new about coronavirus and stuff which is very dangerous, and that's why we should not be looking into coronavirus the same risk level as we look into like other flu. And she will talk more about it.
We know that most respiratory viruses are spread by large droplets that come out when people cough and sneeze and stay aloft usually for about 6 feet in front of them. They land on surfaces and then can also be transmitted between person to person by touching those surfaces, such as doorknobs or other surfaces. Other viruses,
So this is another thing that concerns me a lot. Even in United States and in many other countries, wearing a mask has become very politicized. Meaning, for example, in Japan, wearing a mask, at least during spring, it's very natural for them. It's very common. But in United States, where I live in India now, you will see a lot of people are not wearing masks, and you will see like the right wing party here, they or the left wing in one hand want Democrats typically want everybody to wear masks. On the other hand, the Republicans, they don't want people. uh, I mean, they don't want to impose wearing masks to people. It's kind of like ignores public health concerns. Now, What she talked about, the way coronavirus spread is not, it's also through what we touch, because all the locations in our body, like it can be eyes, or it can be through mouth, it can be through inhalation. So when we are wearing mask, we are only protecting this region of our body. uh, but on the other hand, even if you wear mask, of course I am towards with the view that we should be more careful in terms of public health concern, and we should wear mask in most places, and sometimes wear double mask. So the ultimate goal is to not be the carrier of coronavirus, rather than prevent all possible ways for coronavirus to spread. But sometimes you have this perception that your mask, you're foolproof, which is not, because you can be touching surfaces, and then you may be touching other places, for example doorknobs, which may be touched by another elderly people, and that's how coronavirus can be spreaded too. So we should be definitely try to wear mask where it's necessary, and because it's kind of hard to know in such a pandemic situation where to wear and where not to wear. It's probably wise for us to wear every time we go out, uh, um, and also be aware of all the other ways, through touching, through other contacts, through hugging, the way coronavirus spreads. And the whole point is, yes, if you're a healthy adult, you are most you may catch coronavirus, and it may not be very detrimental to you, but as a being, as we live in the society, you should also be responsible for not spreading the coronavirus. I feel like sometimes our conversation, when we think about virus, we think only in terms of how I can feel safe. It's not about only how you can feel safe, rather, but how we can keep everybody safe. And that's why sometimes, even if you feel very strong, you are a very strong, healthy adult, and I do understand everybody has different kind of health, some and but we should still be careful when we make decisions in terms of public health. I just wanted to emphasize it. And I will also admit that I it's not that I always do the best in terms of because I am expressive and I am outgoing. Sometimes I definitely put myself into situations, or into locations and areas where I am highly likely to contract coronavirus. But I'm very aware of terms of whether I am being the carrier, or whether I am passing it to someone who is in a age limit, or in a age segment where their chance of being affected by coronavirus is much higher.
Can spread in the air and stay aloft for a longer period of time, small droplet nuclei. For this current 2019 coronavirus, we're not yet sure whether it is droplet or airborne transmission. So we're erring on the side of caution and taking protection as if it was spread by the airborne route. We're still learning a lot about this 2019 novel coronavirus to understand how dangerous it might be. Right now, the majority of the cases are in China. We know that some travelers have brought the virus to other countries, including the United States. I think one of the main things to keep in mind is that this is respiratory virus season, and we have other respiratory viruses like influenza that we need to take precautions, because we know we have thousands of cases and thousands of deaths in this country every year from influenza. Given the ongoing transmission of the virus in China, we have a travel alert that was issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. So at this time, until we know more, avoid non essential travel.
So I want to here show that this is a little older video, February 19, 2020. So that's why this portion, um, not going to China, is maybe now not coming to United States is more of a fact than going to China. Because at that time, China was the location where coronavirus was spreading uh, higher rate.
Johns Hopkins Health System and health systems across the nation are busy right now preparing to safely identify, isolate, evaluate, and care for patients with the 2019 novel coronavirus. We have the capability of doing this safely by utilizing personal protective equipment, by implementing travel screening so that we can quickly identify patients who have risk factors for the disease, and then implementing isolation precautions, the use of personal protective equipment, and other measures to make sure that we limit the spread of the virus. At the Johns Hopkins Hospital and throughout our health system, we routinely care for patients infected with diseases that are spread by the airborne route. So we have expertise to do this safely. When a new virus comes along that has unknown risks, we have extra measures that we can put in place, including our biocontainment unit that can advise us and put plans in place to safely care for these.
That's the end of this video. Now, definitely, I would like to see the coronavirus Wikipedia page, just to show the definition. Coronaviruses are a group of related RNA viruses that cause diseases in mammals and birds. In humans and birds, they cause respiratory tract infections that can range from mild to lethal. So, as you can see in that pop-up window, the nasal cavity, larynx, trachea, that's what we know as the respiratory tract, respiratory locations, or the regions of human body through which you can contract coronavirus or any virus like that. So mild illnesses in human include some causes of common cold, which is also caused by other viruses, predominantly rhinoviruses. Rhinoviruses look like that, while more lethal viruses can cause SARS. So SARS is basically severe acute respiratory syndrome. It is a viral respiratory disease of zoonotic origin caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. SARS, MERS, COVID 19. And you see COVID 19 under microscope. In cows and pigs, they cause diarrhea. Interesting. I didn't know that. While in mice, they cause hepatitis and encephalomyelitis. Coronavirus constitute the subfamily Orthocoronavirinae. The family, okay, lots of scientific names here. They are enveloped viruses. Okay, so you can see glycoprotein 3, glycoprotein 1, genome, capsid code. They are enveloped viruses with a positive sense signaled stranded RNA. RNA is ribonucleic acid. As you know, you probably know DNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. And the genome size of coronavirus range from approximately 26 to 32 kilopages. Okay. So whoever is interested, they can also go into the details. Maybe I would like to read it again. Uh, so that's the coronavirus Wikipedia page. Now I would jump into where do I get my coronavirus news. I use mainly two sources. The first source is the New York Times interactive coronavirus map. So here you can have the world map, and also the United States map, and also some other countries' maps. You can just, if you live in India, you can just click on here, and you can get the curve here. So basically, as you can see, this curve If you can see it's a bar, which basically means at during what time you have the highest number of new cases. So as you can see in India, September was the highest number of new cases. What about in United States? On United States, as you can see, is still rising. So everybody was very hopeful back in summer that coronavirus cases will go down, which was the case. But then again, during winter, as everybody has predicted, coronavirus cases are going up, and we are definitely seeing the highest number of coronavirus. But I remember people were much afraid back in those days, and it kind of scares me that people. I don't want people to be afraid, but people need to be more cautious now. But at the same time, we know how psychologically affect people's lives, how economically people have lost jobs, and coronavirus has opened this cans of worms and has impacted us in a much negative ways in all aspects of our lives. And yes, so total reported cases is 15.9 million, more than 15 million on December 11, which is today December 12. Yesterday alone is 280,514 cases, so 25% more cases. And then this is how United States map looks like, which is scary. It means basically the more red you see, those are the location where coronavirus is much more serious. And I live here in Indiana. Back in April, March, it was completely, it was like there was almost no cases, and now it's one of the locations where coronavirus is spreading really strongly. So, and you can see all the other, you can see state by state location. And typically, you will see most Republican states where most Trump supporters live are the states being affected now because those are the states are more likely to keep their business open. More people are outside than inside. And yeah, where new cases are higher but going down. So definitely New York Times interactive map is one of my sources to get some granular level data. And yes, and then this is one post that I have made back in almost 9 months ago. I think, as you can see, this is how coronavirus impact looked like. I will show, this is a Johns Hopkins website that I'll show. As you can see, it was basically in Asia, and United States had no impact whatsoever. And now I think it was from uh, maybe 1 month or 2 months ago I posted. So this is how it looked like 2 months ago. Um, so as you can see how coronavirus has spread. And now this link, as you can see, now this is how the map looks like. As you can see, it pretty much covered the entire world, and that's why it's so scary. And we should be aware more. So United States is definitely affected more than anywhere else, and South America also. So it's amazing how this virus has typically just using human beings as carrier. They just travel from one continent to another continent. So we need to have more understanding about the spread of pandemic and how we can save more human lives and how we can be more. Okay, finally, this is another BBC news that I will link it later. Why is coronavirus such a threat? Because it has the master of deception. Because coronavirus, in the early stages of an infection, the virus is able to deceive the body. Because if you have the coronavirus, you actually won't be able to tell you have it. And coronavirus can be running rampant in our lungs and airways, and yet our immune system thinks everything is okay. Virus is brilliant. It allows you to have a viral factory in your nose and feel completely well. Our body's cells start releasing chemicals called interferons. Once they are being hijacked by a virus, this is a warning signal to the rest of the body and the immune. system. So, um, but the coronavirus has an amazing capability of switching off this chemical warning. Professor Lerner says it does it so well you don't even know you are ill. So this is how it basically traveled all the continents, all the countries, and killing human beings. It behaves like a hit and run killer. Okay? And it's new, so our bodies are unprepared. So that's why we need vaccines. Okay, that I will talk next. So, New York Times also provides this vaccine tracker, as you can see here. You can see the update of vaccine. So, if I am vaccinated, that means I can most likely I won't be able to spread coronavirus or have COVID. So, as you can see, this month we have some good news. The FDA authorizes Pfizer BioNTech vaccine for emergency use, and then some other companies. AstraZeneca joins forces with Russia's Gamaleya Institute, and these are some leading vaccine developers. Pfizer, one of the companies, Moderna. So this is under FDA review, as I can see. This is in China. Can see now the type adenovirus, limited use in China. I'll have to study more about what adenovirus means. And then Johnson and Johnson, everybody uses their product. And early use in Russia. Okay, so in Russia, in China, they are already using it. In UAE is the Arab Emirates, I think. It is in China, Sinovac. So these are the leading developers. So the vaccine testing process. So as you can see, there's several phases of vaccine testing: safety trials, expanded trials, efficacy trials, approval. Okay, so it gets approved. So I think we are at the approval stage for at least, I think that it says here, researchers are currently testing 57 vaccines in trials on humans. 15 have reached the final stages of testing. Good news. So hopefully, we will see these vaccines first go to different nursing homes and also places where the workers who are more likely to spread the virus get vaccinated first. Eventually by next year, I hope that a significant portion of the population voluntarily get vaccine, so that reduce put this away from our lives. Okay, finally I want to show okay, how the coronavirus has impacted our lives. So some of the charts. So coronavirus, I guess in you will probably want to know how economically it has impacted. So this one is a graph that compares coronavirus recession with other recessions. As you can see, this orange one is the 2020 recession, and this y-axis is percent change in employment since business cycle peak. So how many people basically lose their jobs? Percent change in employment, um, percentage in employment relative to business cycle, or it reflect. It's probably definitely not exactly the unemployment, rather than it's a reflection of it. I'll have to take a look at the indicator. But as you can see, 2020 recession, the COVID is definitely the highest number of percentage change. The next big one was 1945 recession, 2007 recession, and 2001 recession, 1990 91 recession. So COVID definitely has impacted our lives across the countries. So then unemployment rate in 2020. As you can see, young people from the age from 16 to 24, the unemployment rate is super high. The unemployment rate back in April was 30%. That's a huge number. Typically, it many people, maybe you have seen some crazy people talking about civil wars and stuff, because when people are unemployed, the society will be unstable and people will vandalize. uh, then the essential workers in 2020 by race. So these are the three charts you can see here. And then there is another one that I have liked on BBC. This one, the impact of coronavirus on a stock market. People who As you can see, during March, April, Bitcoin and all other stock markets, Dow Jones, everything collapsed 30%, 35%, which has never happened for the past decades maybe. So world economy is struggling with rising unemployment, and definitely you can see United States from 3.7%, 10.4%. Italy has got a great hit. France also has suffered a lot. Canada, United Kingdom, Japan. Okay. These are the world's biggest economies. Millions of workers furloughed. As you can see, hiring has slowed down, and risk of recession. Majority of countries on the brink of recession. So it's almost showing the United States is in recession, and the Europe is also in recession. This is Brazil there. Flights picking up again. Oil price recovery. Oil price has dumped down because people were literally not going outside. Definitely, the demand has slowed down. That caused huge drop in shoppers. So basically, traveling, shopping, all this. That means all the locations, all these many millions of people work in venues, and all those working class population have lost their jobs. The rise of pharmaceutical companies. Okay. So this is what I discussed today, because I do think I do think in one way coronavirus has impacted some people's lives. Definitely, I am probably fortunate enough to have a job where I stay home, can feel safe, have the best healthcare. But I know my friends and many people across the world have who can afford to just stay home and be safe. They will have to go out, and them lost their jobs, and I feel very sorry for them, and I feel empathetic, and I do hope that world leaders and everybody, all educated people and people from all walks of lives, we learn a big lesson from this coronavirus, and we stay more prepared for the next pandemic, and we stay together. United we stand. All right, that's today's video.